I'm alive.
Hello, welcome to episode 86 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name's John Denton, with me as always Chet Roivas.
Take a toy back to the carpet.
So, I normally say you know what the deal is, but just in case you don't, just in case this is the first time you've listened to the podcast, here's a breakdown quickly. We both do, Chet and I do a top 10 list of the games we've been playing this week. We both start at 10, we both end up at 1. 10 is the game we both played the least this week, 1 is the game we both played the most. It's simple, it goes back and forth, so let's do it. Chet, number 10.
Okay, right, my number 10 is a game called Alien Rage on the Xbox 360. It's an arcade game. It's also on PC and PSN, I think, and it's a first-person shooter. Have you heard of it?
Not actually, no. I thought you were going to say it was an indie game then, but
It's not. No, it's a fully fledged. I think it's about £10 if you want to buy the full version, but don't do that.
right.
It wound me up straight away because there's a huge opening bit with this voiceover with this gruff guy explaining everything, and he was talking about how this place had been colonised. It looks like aliens, it sounds like aliens. He's talking about the colony of this planet, and he described the people that were colonising it as these science pukes. They sent these pods there, and I was like, I understand that whole thing. The gruff guys don't understand. You know that. I've seen a film this lifetime. I do understand that dynamic, but describing the scientists who went there to go and explore this rock as science pukes, I was just like, I mean, all right. That's taking it a little bit far, you shithead. Anyway, it shows you the guy, and he's bald, and his head looks like a pea because he's wearing what's basically Warhammer armour, and his name's Jack. And I was like, all right, this is off to a brilliant start. And then you walk out of a ship, and it takes about 5-6 minutes to tell you the controls to come up on the screen. And I was halfway through the demo before it stopped, and because it's just Call of Duty controls. It says, do this to do this. And I was like, you have the same controls as every other game. I don't really know why you felt the need to do it. Anyway, you run along dark corridors. Bulletstorm seems to have been an influence just because the environments are quite similar, but if you stripped all of the colour and interesting things out of them, so it's just these grey and gunmetal blue corridors, and the camera kind of rocks in that same car sickness mode, which is the only thing I didn't like about Bulletstorm. The guns look similar as well, and the hooded enemies look and sound and behave vaguely like the Locust. It's unoriginal as fuck. You just run and shoot a load of people. I found an audio log, and there was a scientist woman, or a scientist puke woman, I should say, and she was like, "Can anyone out there hear me? Interference! We've got taken over. Interference!" And then there was an elevator, and I pressed the elevator button, and oh my god, there was enemies in there. Headshots don't register properly. There are load times when you die, you don't get straight back into the action. There's a good 10 plus seconds wait. The AI occasionally just stands there. It's hard, the difficulty settings are hard, very hard, nightmare, or worse to those effects. And so the screen goes red when you get hit a couple of times, and then it goes kind of black and white and dark grey when you've got hit a lot. And you get hit quite a bit, so it's not only ugly, you often can't see what the fuck you're doing. It's an ugly bore. It made me think of that quote from someone high up at EA, I think, who said that all games that have demos sell less than games that don't. Which he was saying all games shouldn't have demos. No, games like this should not have demos. Fucking awful. Alien Rage. Alien Beige. That's tame as fuck. I can't be bothered. It's honestly, it's trash, mate. Trash.
It's weird that there's now this proliferation of these types of games appearing on that space, games that, first-person shooters, that Scourge Outbreak or whatever, which was, proper...
Third person.
Yeah, I know it's third person, but yeah, a game that would have, a few years ago, 5 years ago, been a box game, probably. It's kind of weird that they're at the back end of Xbox Live Arcade on 360. It just seems to be getting all that stuff. Like the other game was that game. The one that was like God of War, I can't remember. The one with the bloke's name, I can't even remember. We talked about it a few weeks ago. I said he was like The Rock mixed with Vin Diesel, I can't remember. But anyway, that would have been a box game a few years ago.
These games are not to be remembered, that has to be said.
Very true.
But yeah, this is like Scourge Outbreak, and even it's like that shithouse that I talked about from last week, the Orc Attack, Fraction Rebellion. If you price them right, they might sell. But when they're so clearly awful, Why you? I mean, I think this was £10. Nobody would pay £10 for it. Nobody. It's awful. Fucking awful. two quid, £3. I might just to see if it gets any better, but no, rubbish.
Alien Rage. Okay, my number 10 is Driftmania Outlaws on iOS. This is a game that I kind of seen through work over the last year, just in different dribs and drabs, and it's come out. It's the third in the Driftmania series, which is a massively popular drifting series on iPhone. Kind of one of those games that's really popular amongst people who don't really play games, but presumably like drifting. This one is like, instead of it being drifting tracks, it's more like a Need for Speed street race, but you're still drifting around the corners. It's absolutely fine. It looks okay. The cars don't look very good. The backgrounds look fine. And yeah, you just use the phone to tilt. It's got a handbrake. Use the right-hand side of the screen with your thumb. The higher up you go, as the faster you're accelerating. It's absolutely fine. I can see why it's popular, because it's cheap. It does drifting and very little else. And it's absolutely fine. It's fun. It's the type of game that people who don't play games really... That's a massive generalisation, but I can just see it as the type of game that people who don't play games play. The type of thing that someone you know a bit, who's not really a gamer, but is sitting there playing a game on their phone, and they'll proceed to tell you all about it and all the different things about it as if you've never heard about a video game before. And this fits into that category.
Okay. When you say drifting, you literally mean just drifting around corners in a car?
Yeah, you know, the sport of drifting.
The sport of drifting? Is there a sport called drifting?
Yeah.
What do they do it in?
What?
What, in cars?
Yeah, not like vagrancy.
I just don't understand it. So, I mean, as a game...
What was that? What was the Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift was about drifting, right? Going sideways in a car.
I think that's the one of those movies I haven't seen.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that either. I saw the trailer though, and yeah, it's actually quite a big sport. It's quite a big sport. It is. Yeah, there's specially designed tracks. Some of the Need for Speed games have had these in drifting tracks, like specially designed tracks, and it's all about drifting for as long as you can, as stylishly as you can, and you get scored on it, I believe.
So the ideal track is just a load of circles.
Or like S-bends, yeah. Figure of 8 type deal.
Or just they don't need to do any. They just have one circle as a track.
No, because you've got to go the other way, haven't you?
Yeah, but then you start again. You do another. You go in a circle. I don't understand this. I can't believe this is a real thing.
They're more like S's. You drift to the right, and then it's just like a game. You're drifting through chicanes and things.
All right.
People are going to think you're crazy. It's big enough that people know about it.
I'm just picturing guys in a car park doing donuts. I don't know where the sport's involved. If going, I mean, because you go around in a circle. I mean, why would you? I don't get it.
You don't go around in a circle. You've made that up. You go around corners on a track going forward.
But the ideal track for doing drifting is a circle, isn't it?
No. That's like saying the ideal track for racing is a circle, because all you need to do is get back to the beginning.
No, but I mean, there's more. Just the fact that it's taken one aspect of driving, and the only way to accentuate that is to go around a corner. Then just make it an endless corner. I don't. Sorry, this is weird. I'm going to look this up later because this is just blowing my mind. I don't understand.
You're watching and you go, oh, okay, I get it. I was being an idiot.
Is it just racing, but the guys just like drift a bit more? I
can't be bothered to explain it to you anymore. Okay, basically, they just go on a small circular track and spin around in a circle. And go.
All right, good. All right, I'll look into this later if I can be bothered.
You'd have forgotten about it by the time we get to our number 6s.
I'm sure. Okay, all right. My number 9 is a game called Censored on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game. It's the latest release from Silver Dollar Games. Okay, a brief recap. One Finger Death Punch, best game, one of the best games of the year, and then they fell back into what they normally do, which I don't mind, and then they made I Want It, which I spoke about a couple of weeks ago. An awful, I mean, not even an idea. Normally, it's their games are at least have a good idea behind them. That didn't even. Censored, I dare say they've come. One Finger Death Punch. Let's leave that out of the running for a moment, but they've got back up to the peak of what they do.
Okay.
Just because it's a genius idea, and the execution here is not perfect, but it doesn't have to be because the idea is that good. Basically, you have 5 monologues, and you pick. There's 2 free in the trial, and there's 3 there's 5 in total in the whole game. The 3 that you pay for are actually the best of the 5, and it's 69p. Basically, there's these monologues, and you sit and watch them, and the only way you interact with it is by pressing A, which does the censorship bleep. So you bleep out imaginary swear words, basically, because there's no swear words in the script. And it just instantaneously, I was like, this is a genius idea, and I bought it straight away. The problem is that the script has clearly not been modified for the concept, because if I wrote a script for a game like this, there'd be loads of words beginning with F and C, because you'd want to try and create swear words non-stop. So it means you have to work a little bit harder for a laugh, but it doesn't hurt it that much, because I played this after a night out with 4 friends at 1 a.m, and on so how many occasions, if I'm being honest, 4 occasions we all laughed. I mean, like, disturbed the neighbours' laughter.
Really?
Because it's just, if you can, in a way, thinking about it, making it a bit more difficult to get those laughs is actually kind of perhaps gives it a bit more longevity. Because if it was just F this, C this, it would kind of lose its charm a little bit. But great idea, not executed as perfectly as you want it to be, but it's 69 pence, and I'd say in the ideal environment, after a night out, a load of mates around, stick it on. It's funny.
That sounds, yeah. I like the fact that they just drive out ideas.
Yeah.
They keep chucking stuff and see what sticks.
Yeah, I mean, I said that it's the latest release from them, but it's not, because they've already got another came out that I haven't played yet. So it's been out a couple of weeks. But I'm telling you, it's for a laugh. I mean, even the trial's good for a couple of chuckles, and it's a good idea.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, sounds right. My number 9 is Mega Dead Pixel Mega. What was it called? The one you talked about? Yeah, Mega Dead Pixel. This the iOS game where you're a pixel and then you fall down the screen, eat things, get bigger, hit things, get smaller, and have to dodge by the side of things to. Is that how you get bigger? I can't remember now. It's good. It's quite good. It just feels like a good time waster. The fact it was free was excellent, and it didn't seem to be bothering me for any money. I like the style of it. I really like the tunes. There was nothing about it that I disliked, but it didn't grab me to the point where I couldn't put it down, or it kept calling me back. But I thought it was absolutely fine. Yeah, good fun. Probably played maybe 20, 30 rounds on it. Good. Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to get too excited about. I mean, I just thought it was a good idea, and yeah, it was good for it's on my phone, and it will be for 2 or 3 minutes blast on it, and it's free. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, the fact it's free is kind of strange because it feels like it should be 69p, but
yeah.
Just because it's not shouting at me the whole time, but
yeah, there are, and most of the extra stuff you can buy is kind of cosmetic. So I don't. It'd be interesting to know how that does, because it's good. It's good.
It is good.
Okay, also good is my number 8. I've only played the demo though. It's Lego Marvel Superheroes on the Xbox 360. I'm looking forward to the full game. I did the demo and it was really, amazing degree of polish, and it's too early to tell how that. I mean, I love the 2 that came out last year. Batman Superheroes. What was it called? The Lego Batman 2 that had all the other heroes in it, and the Lord of the Rings. They were honestly sort of Disney Pixar levels, just intense smartness and warmth, and completely comparable with the stuff that Pixar does. I like the fact that in this that the voice actors have kind of gone their own way. The Iron Man guy doesn't seem to be pretending to be Robert Downey Jr. and they haven't sort of tried to ape the actors that play those characters. Which is good. I just hope they're allowed to do what they want with those characters as well, because one of the things that was so great about Batman was that they created that. I mean, forgive me, I'm not a massive comic book expert, so I don't know if this is something they did in the comics before that, but having Batman and Robin just thinking Superman was God, and Batman being really snide to Superman, and Superman thinking just being a sort of buffoonish twat. That's the 3 of those characters interacting was just gold, and I hope they're allowed to play with it. I don't know how. Marvel might be a little bit more precious about their characters, I guess. But yeah, they've made a series of games that work as well. When the first one came out, the Star Wars, everyone was like, "Oh, it's a great game for kids to play with adults." And I played it, and I was like, if my kid wanted to play this, I'd try and find something else because it's just so monotonous and dull. But they've managed to make it into something that works for adults as well as kids. So I can't wait to play the full game.
Yeah, I'll definitely happily play the full game as well. It was really cheap on Steam. It was like £12 on Steam or something like that last week.
Why?
I don't know. PC just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't. But yeah, it's not a game for PC for me, because I'd like to play it with the little fella. Not that he can play, but he'd enjoy watching it. You know what I mean? Number 8 is a game I like a lot. It is a super amazing wagon adventure. That's what it's actually called, isn't it?
I think so.
But yeah, when I talked about it the other week, I think I missed the amazing out of it. I like that game a lot. It appeals to my dumbass sense of humour very much. Everything about it's just like mildly anarchic. I just like it. If you missed the podcast the other week or last week when I talked about it, it is it's basically a very simple scrolling shoot 'em up from with 1980 stylings. But the point is, it tells a story about like adventurers, voyagers, fucking Lewis and Clark type people going across America, but Jesus Christ, sorry. The story is different every single time. So it starts out the same, and then different scenarios will happen every single time. A lot of them very funny, a lot of them very, very strange and surreal. And it's just really good, really appeals to me. And I've just been playing more of it, seeing more crazy stuff happening. Just kind of plays with the form. It's just constant jokes and has a type of humour that, as I said multiple times, appeals to me because it feels like at times they just kind of do jokes for the sake of it. That sounds wrong as well. It's not always trying to be clever and smart and putting its hand up in the front of the classroom. Well, maybe it's more than happy just chuck a joke out there because they don't really give a shit. And that was one of the things that definitely appealed to me about it.
And you can buy it for shrapnel.
Yeah, I can't remember what it costs, but I'm pretty sure it's 69p on Xbox, and it's in the indie games section, and on PC it's probably the same price. It's nothing. It's just get it. If you like games, get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get it when there's not so much on my plate.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know that the PC version's called Super Wagon Adventure Turbo. The Xbox one's actually been updated, so all that content's on the Xbox as well. I think. I mean, I've been led to believe that that's the case.
It's a great palate cleanser because you can just play it for 5-10 minutes. You don't really need to play it for longer than that. So if you're playing something heavy, it's a good palate cleanser to go back to it or do whatever.
For real. Okay, all right. My number 7 is a game called Mag Runner Dark Pulse on the Xbox 360. Does that title ring a bell?
I'm sure Mag Runner does. I don't know why.
I hadn't heard of anything. Mag Runner Dark Pulse is a terrible title. The box art's terrible. It looks like Infamous. It looks like the guy from Infamous jumping off a platform or something. So I don't know what the game was going to be like. This actually came out on the PC in the summer, and it takes ages to get started. It's got one of the longest openings I can remember in a game. It's an arcade game, and it's a PSN and PC as well. It's Portal. It's not literally Portal, but it owes so much to Portal. It's one of those situations where I'm pretty sure that if somebody wanted to start, getting lawyers involved, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
Right.
The intro is a mixture of the remake of Syndicate and Half-Life. There's this sort of network run by corporations, and all the people are just conformists. And there's this whole. It's really dramatic and sort of supposed to be serious, but that sort of tone is undercut by this bit where, during the opening, they talk about real people and so all these photos of quote unquote people come by, and I don't know where they got those photos from. You just see random. When they're not posed photographs, it looks really weird. Like, I don't know whether they nicked them off one of the developers' hard drives or something, but it just looks weird. Seeing these sort of real people, not models. Weird, badly framed shots. Cheesy faced guy coming at you at 3 miles an hour past. Anyway, it's unusual. And then after that, they introduce the hero, and he looks like a Pixar villain. He's this big, buff, blonde, smiling guy. And I was like, what the hell is this? It seems like it's serious, but then again, there are times when it seems like a spoof. Anyway, once the game finally gets going after about 15 minutes of nonsense, you walk into a room, and it's just the world is the same sparse surveillance hellhole. It's mainly white. There's some primary colours around. You've got a gun which looks exactly like the Portal gun with a few little sparks on it and stuff. Even the targeting reticule with those 2 half ovals is exactly the same. There's puzzle blocks that you need to use that vaporise when they're used incorrectly, and there's even those metal launcher panels on the ground that it is Portal. It's a very, very rickety and not entirely functional version of Portal because the controls are quite clunky. And like if you go to pick up blocks, sometimes the button doesn't work, and there's load times are ridiculously long. And Yeah, it's just a really, really slapdash version of Portal, but you're not making portals, you're changing the polarity of things. So a lot of the puzzles in the demo, you reverse the polarity of these blocks. So if you put a block on the floor and then reverse the polarity of the wall, and then it will send you shooting off somewhere. It's really clever, and I was playing it thinking if this had been released at another time of year, it might be something that I would definitely pick up. I mean, it's too... It's a strange time to release any game that's not AAA because it's clearly inessential. But at the same time, I was really. One thing that I'll say about it is that there's no through lines to the puzzles, so you can never see the solution. If you walk into a room, there's obviously you've got bricks here and you've got switches there, and you can see that there's puzzles. But if there's not a light next to a door. And sometimes I'd solve puzzles by mistake, or sometimes I don't know. It was disorientating and not satisfying as well. That's the other thing. The thing that was so great about Portal was that it was really clever, but it was never intimidating. And this, I'd walk in frequently and be like, fuck, and then I'd figure it out, and I just wouldn't get any sense of reward from it, really. But at the same time, it's a really neat idea. The concept works. I just wish it wasn't as derivative as it was. And I have only played the demo, so at some point down the line, I'd like to think I'll go back to it. Complete surprise. I was thinking it was going to be some shitty action game.
Yeah, it sounds like it. From the title,
yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, even though it's a Portal ripoff, they do some good things, even in the demo with that concept.
All right. I'll never play it because I'm too stupid for puzzles. But it sounds like I'm not too stupid for Portal, but.
That's what you. But yeah, I know. What you mean.
The type of game that is a puzzle game that leaves you with no satisfaction, which I would guess it would do the same for me. That kind of leaves me more cold than almost any other type of game because I just feel like, what did I do that for? I didn't achieve anything.
Yeah, it's because they're not designed. Like I said, you want to walk in and know what you're doing. I need to do that to try and figure out. But you do it. Yeah, it's a shame because I want to play it. I will play it at some point, and I'll play some more.
All right, Mag Runner Dark Pulse. Eh?
Shitty title.
Okay, my number 7, is another game that probably owes a debt to Portal in a different way. It's the Stanley Parable. I went back to it this week, and it is a strange one because it's got pretty much unanimous praise. I don't think I've ever heard anybody have a bad word to say about it, and I don't really have bad words to say about it. It's just more my reaction to it. I don't think anything about the game is badly made or misjudged or misguided. I think it's extremely clever. But as I spoke about last week, the way it achieves its cleverness is not something that really tickles me. It's a game that wants you to admire it and enjoys the fact it's very clever, constantly breaking the fourth wall, rewards you for prodding and poking at it constantly. That's kind of point, and rewards you with narrative strands for almost everything that you do. And for I think the type of brain that really got a kick out of working out what happens in Fez would love it, absolutely love it. And that seems to be the people that I've listened to. I listen to other podcasts as well as reading reviews, and the people who seem to have really got the most out of the Stanley Parable, I can remember them loving Fez. And I've literally just thought about that just then as I started speaking. But I've spoken about this many times. I always use the same sentence. I think my brain is more reactive and less constructive. These words were meaningless. They're just words that I like to think of. And for that reason, the fact that you can kind of prod and poke at this game world, and it reacts, it doesn't do a lot for me. It doesn't, that doesn't really get me off. I just go, that's really clever. You're really clever. I can see why people like this. But am I enjoying myself as I'm doing this right now? Not really. And then it keeps resetting you back to the beginning. I mean, just to rewind slightly, the game is you're Stanley. You wake up in your office where your day job is to hit keys on a keypad and enter numbers into a thing. Very similar to what I did once, actually. And then you wake up, there's no one in your office, and there's a narrator talking to you, an English narrator. And he will tell you what's happening before it happens, if that makes any sense. So you can actually defy him. So the clear example is you come to two doors very early on, very, very early on, and he says, and Stanley took the left door. He does say that. So you can take the left door due to take the right door. And the game rewards you for every single choice you make, and it's amazing how much there is in there and how many choices you can make. You can even make the choice to not make any choices. But yeah, for me, I don't know. What I'd be interested in is to hear someone else who it didn't really work for, because I haven't heard anybody yet. That's all. But it's definitely very worthy, very interesting. I'm glad it exists. I still recommend buying to almost anybody. It's definitely a game about games as well. A game about all sorts of things. It's kind of masked in this, corporate boring. That thing's been done to death, but that's just kind of like a decoration on its cake. It's not really about that. That's just kind of window dressing. But I don't know. It's tough. I think I might go back to it one more time. But I think I'm now kind of banging my head against the wall a little bit, trying to get something that I'm just not going to get out of it.
I'll tell you what's weird. This is the fourth or the fifth indie, quote unquote indie game that's been released on PC this year. That seems it seems just a little overpriced. I don't know what I'm basing that on. It's just weird that so many huge games are trying to sort of cut their prices on PC, and indie games like Gone Home was another one. I don't know. It just seems like the consensus, as brilliant as they are, a lot of the time is I don't think they're worth the money.
This one, it didn't feel like that at all, to be honest, because I think it was £8, £7, and it didn't feel like it wasn't worth the money to me. But Gone Home was very expensive. As good as Gone Home is, it was very, very expensive.
Wasn't that the same sort of price?
And that was more like £14-15.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Gone Home's $20. Whereas I'm pretty sure this is like $11 or something like that. So
Fuck.
Yeah, this felt like if Gone Home. I don't know. Do I regret paying money to play Gone Home? Not at all. So what does it matter? But I know what you mean. But I don't know. It feels about right. I mean, it's a nice looking game. It's got a hell of a lot of content in. The voice acting's fantastic, as is the script. No, to me, I haven't played it. It doesn't. I could see how you could perceive it as that, but it doesn't feel overpriced at all.
I suppose it's just, I don't know. I don't have a PC, so that just seems like the Wild West. The way that some games can be 1p one day that were £40 the week before, and then indies that seem to have been made on a shoestring can be. But then again, you want to reward those people with your wedge. So
yeah, this doesn't feel like it's been made on a shoestring either. It's the production values are really good.
Okay.
But yeah, honestly, if you're out there listening and you've played Stanley Parable, please just chuck me a tweet at John Denton or at Chet and Johns. I just want to know what you think. I'm interested, because I'm only hearing one side, and it's a game that, more so than almost anything I've played recently, is worthy of discussion. Just to see, because it's all about how you react to it.
All right. Well, maybe I'll play it one day. I do intend to. It's just this is a silly time of year.
Oh yeah, you don't. I mean, fucking hell, it's tough. I wouldn't recommend it to you right now because I know what the workload's like.
Okay, all right. Well, my number 6 is FIFA 14 on the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
I only played it because you were playing it, and I thought, okay, well, let's have a couple of games. Why not? They patched it, so they seem to have fixed it. So let's have a look. Have you played? This has got to be on your list,
yeah,
right?
it's a bit higher on my list. Yeah, a fair bit higher on my list. So we can talk about it now. We can talk about the matches we had, and I can talk about other stuff later. It's up to you.
Yeah, okay. We had 3 games. It's still very difficult to tell what changes they've made, because the lob through ball still beats everything, and some ridiculous goals were scored. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like much has been changed, but you can't tell after 3 games. When did you become the world's most boring player?
I don't really understand what I was doing wrong.
Firing it to the wing, long ball. Whatchamacallit? Press B. You know what you were doing.
All I was doing was looking for the open man and just passing it about, and then I was playing as Manchester United, and since the the early 90s, as a team, they've just moved the ball around between the wings and attacked with fast wingers. So I was playing exactly like that, and I was actually quite happy that it was working. But then you won the first game by the 2 shittest goals of all time.
Oh, come on, they were skills. Look, all I know is that you know nothing about football. As soon as the ball comes to your feet, you got to have a fucking pop on the goal. Not this pass back to the keep, pass. Rubbish. Have a pop always.
Let it be known that you rage quit in the third game. In the friendly 3-game series of FIFA. Actually, you rage quit.
That's reminded me. I completely forgot about that. The reason I rage quit was because it was one of those games, and me and Fraser, who plays more FIFA than almost anybody, talked about this many times. There does appear to be games in FIFA, never in Pro Evo, where it just feels like they've just stacked the cards against you. Every pass you make is intercepted. You can't get the ball anywhere. There was nothing I could do. Nothing.
I think the problem is I just stepped my gleam ratio up about 2 to 3 notches. And you were too busy getting stressed out, and I was just taking advantage.
I didn't win any headers. Every time I passed the ball, your guy was just there. Yeah. Nothing. I could do nothing.
I figured you out. That's the problem. I'd figured out your game.
Rubbish. That's not true. I've got skills. And I scored decent goals. Fucking cracking goals I score, I tell you.
The one that made you rage quit was when I rounded your keeper with a skill move. Oh, yeah. You got really upset because I watched the replay, didn't you? But
but who does that?
Well, I was still sending you a text at the time about how gleam I was.
Yeah, well, so you're twice the worst person in the world. Anyway, I still love the slickness of it, but I'm not going to play it again probably until the Xbox One. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, no, we'll talk more about FIFA later, because, I have been playing it quite a lot for... it was actually a piece that I wrote, the reason I played it, but I'll talk about it in a minute anyway.
All right.
My number 6... God, I should really write numbers down on my list. Yeah. My number 6 is Batman Arkham City, not Arkham Origins. I put on Batman Arkham City to compare the two, having played Batman Arkham Origins, which I'll talk about later. And I won't talk about it now. I will talk about it kind of in with my Arkham Origins piece, because it'll make more sense then. But it was worth mentioning because I actually did end up playing a fair bit of Arkham City, just going back to it. I'd always meant to go back to it and kind of got sucked back in for some reason, and ended up playing it for quite a while. But this is the one I want to talk about it specifically. I actually want to talk about it in relation to Origins, so it'll make more sense to do it later.
Okay. Well, you got sucked back in because it's Glee. For no
one
reason.
Of the best. I mean, truly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my number 5 is Batman Arkham Origins. Okay. Blackgate on the Sony PlayStation Vita. And this, my girlfriend picked this up. She's a massive fan of these. She hasn't played Origins yet, but she's one of the only people I know who's got 1,000 gamer score on Arkham City.
Oh shit!
So she bought this straight away, and it's really not bad. It really is true. I mean, it's actually pretty damn good as far as sort of like the smaller handheld console sort of hand me downs. It's like a little downgraded version of the console game, and it actually has, although they clearly related, it doesn't have much to do. What am I talking about? It has everything to do with it. But basically, it's those games, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, downscaled into a 2D kind of Metroid situation, and it's really, really good. I mean, it looks nice as well. There's no cutscenes. They've got sort of animation artwork that kind of looks like I haven't read the Frank Miller comics, but I've seen those images of what they look like, and that's what they look like. There's some moving elements in there, and there's dialogue, but they're not fully animated. But the game is a side-on sort of platformer. Basically, you can move between planes in the same way like on like a Mario game, if you go through a pipe and then you're in the background. But the camera always follows you. But the way you move around space is actually quite neat. But by and large, it's a 2D scrolling beat 'em up. And it is at the same time as being quite different because it's a Metroid game. Essentially, it's largely the same. The combat's the same. The counter prompts are the same. The glide kicks and the detective mode, and the vents and the corner sculptures that it's the game in the 2D format, and it fucking works. And I was like, wow, this is wicked. And in-game stuff, it actually looks very similar. I mean, it doesn't look as glossy, obviously, but it looks like Arkham City in every department, more or less. You have something called an analyzer, which is not the greatest name in the world. But if you see something interesting on the touch screen, you can just touch the area, and it has this little sort of glowing circle, and you analyze things. It's like using the the scanning device in Metroid.
Okay.
And that's really neat. The other thing is that because there's no collectibles in it, or at least I've done the first 2 hours. There's no collectibles. I don't think there's no collectibles. No, there isn't. They've alleviated the biggest problem with those games, which is that you basically almost more than 50% of the time you have detective mode on, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You sometimes walk into a room and you won't see something, so just turn detective mode on. There might be a collectible, so just turn detective mode. Because you're on one path and the secrets, you can use this analyzer thing, you don't walk around the whole time with a detective mode. I was like, well, that's great, because I mean the big console games haven't managed to do that yet, because that's still a fundamental problem. So that was cool. But yeah, really well designed. A couple of really cracking boss battles in there. It's really good. I haven't finished it. I will. It's good.
Yeah, I want to play that, actually. I definitely do. It's interesting you bring up the Metroid comparison, both in terms of the structure and also the analyzer mode, because it's made by load of ex-retro people. They formed the studio that made this game.
Is that right?
Yeah. So when I heard that, plus I'd heard it was quite good, and people who played it, I was like, oh, actually, that does actually sound good, because I assumed it would be shit, just because they always are.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bunch of ex-retro guys formed a studio, and this was their first game.
Good for them. I mean, it's almost comparable with Killzone in that it's one of those things that if you want a first-person shooter stroke or a Batman style game, it looks like it's £35 and you get your money's worth. I'm speaking only on the basis of the 2 hours, but just in terms of the gloss and it might be 4 hours long. I don't know yet.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
From what I've played, wow, yeah, really good.
Yeah, I'll get round to that at some point, I think. Absolutely.
Nice.
My number 5, more football, Pro Evolution Soccer. That's how this game makes me feel now. Online works again, but it doesn't work, does it? It's a piece of shit. It is a piece of shit. It's unplayable. Absolutely unplayable online. I persevered. The button lag is inexcusable, and the thing perhaps most frustrating of all is that it completely changes during the space of one match. So you can be having a game that has got a quarter-second button lag, which is still pretty fucking shit, but it's just about playable at that level. You have to preempt everything, but you can do it. But throughout the course of the match, it will just slow down. Almost every single time, it will slow down to a 1 second button lag, which is completely unplayable, 100% unplayable. In a football game, it's all about how many touches you take on the ball, how quickly you pass in comparison to those touches and in comparison to how distant a defender is. That's how football works. When you're not in control of that, football fucking fundamentally doesn't work. So you've got two people fumbling with controls, trying to play a game of football with each other. It's unbelievably frustrating. It made me feel almost physically unwell to play it for 2 or 3 matches in a row, because it's such a slog, and you're constantly battling against this lag, and everything feels like you're kind of treading through sludge. They're patching it in November. The game is coming out in Japan in November. They're patching it in November with 800 new faces, apparently some online fixes and some other fixes and some new modes. If it's not fixed then online, I'm tapping out, because I can't be dealing with it anymore. And it's pissing me off, because I played a couple of games offline just to kind of soothe my pain, and they were glorious. 2 brilliant Master League games, both completely different, both had moments of drama and moments of magic in. And there's that game. That's probably the most frustrating thing of all. It's there, but you can't play it properly online. And I like to play football games online. That's why I play them these days. It's criminal.
I'm surprised you haven't given up already. I haven't gone back to it, but I don't know. I've kind of lost. FIFA has stopped being interesting too, but that's because I think I'm waiting for I'm going to have it on Xbox One in a few weeks. But God, what the? I mean, I don't. We've said all we can about it. It's just it's a terrible situation. But yeah, I will.
The PES 2013 was great online.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it's beautiful. So yeah, it's just even thinking about it now is making me feel tired. Making my back feel heavy and my eyes feel droopy just thinking about those matches that I played.
Yeah. Well, I'll play it again at some point. But God damn it, what?
All I want to do is love it. That's all I want.
What a sorry situation. Okay. My number 4 is Killzone Mercenary on the PlayStation Vita. I haven't finished it yet, although I understand that it's only between 4 and 5 hours long, and I'm about 3.5 hours through it, so I'm more or less at the end. I still really like it. It's still absolutely gorgeous. It's a system seller if visuals are all that you care about, definitely. And I still really love it. It is still outstandingly derivative. Even for a shooter, even for a first-person shooter, a derivative genre inherently. It's really, just, hacking terminals, looking after guys, waiting for stuff to down. It's honestly, and the fucking cutscenes are really long. At first, I was sitting there going, you can't skip them. I didn't realise double tap the screen. The screen is always skip.
Okay.
My girlfriend told me that. I didn't even know. But it's really enjoyable. As I'm just a fan of shooters, I think, and this is a really well-made one, as derivative as it is. It's nobody's game of the year. It's not even anyone's shooter of the year. I'm sure. If they say it is, they need to play some other stuff. I saw something hilarious that happened twice, and I think it was a glitch. So I can't. I was hoping it was something that basically I shot these 2 Hellgun in the head. They fell down, not dead, so they can't have been headshots, but they kind of got caught. I think they got caught on scenery, and their head were kind of rotating around like they were doing that weird sort of mamba dance, and they were sideways, both doing that. Go, help me! And they honestly, it looked like Laurel and Hardy. So I killed them, hoping that that's just a thing that happens when they die. But it must have been a glitch. That was great. Multiplayer is really, really tight. I've played a lot more of it. I can't remember if I played it last week.
Yeah, you had, yeah.
It's confusing at first because there's 3 symbols come up. One of them's all against all, one of them's team deathmatch, and one of them's kill confirmed, like the COD mode, but instead of dog tags, you pick up playing cards, and it's good, it's fun. They definitely didn't go all in with it because there's only 4 maps and 3 modes, but that's all it needs to be. I don't think it would be stupid for a handheld shooter to sort of bombard people with modes and maps. But I really like it. Killzone Mercenary, I was surprised. It's a really, really tight little game, but it's the kind of game that if you read that ridiculous article about BioShock Infinite, I can't remember the guy's name who wrote it, but he said that it's the worst game of the year, and he talks about, he'd give Super Mario Galaxy 2 out of 10 or something. I don't know. I can't defend this as an original work in any way, because there's nothing original about it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Less than nothing. There were times where I kind of rolled my eyes and like, are you going to make me stand here while a file downloads and loads of people are going to run in? It's derivative as a motherfucker, but it's really polished, it's really well made, and it's really tight. I do like it as a game, so piss off that guy.
Yeah, definitely to that. It is, it's another one of those games on Vita that I do want to play, and probably will get around to it at some point, but haven't yet. But I'm actually glad to hear that it has a small amount of maps and modes online, strangely. That seems to suit the format much better.
Yeah, it does.
Trying to learn like 10 maps and a huge unlock system and all that sort of stuff. I haven't really got time for that.
Yeah, it's, at first I was like, it's missing quite a lot, and then I thought, well, it's not really. That's all that it needs to be, and it's enjoyable and it's fun. Yeah, so it's if you're somebody who uses your Vita a lot and you commute and stuff, this is basically a must buy.
I will play it. There's no doubt. I will play it indeed. And I'm actually strangely looking forward to the new one on PlayStation 4, but I think that's just, as much as anything, that's probably just like next-gen launch syndrome or whatever you want to label it. But I say that, I liked the second one and didn't mind the third one that much, so I'm sure it'll be all right.
Yes.
My number 4 then is a game that I've not actually played as much of as I have been in previous weeks. It's GTA.
All right.
I don't have a huge amount to add, to be honest. It's more just been playing online, having fun, not really achieving anything of any note, having a bit of money, spending that money straight away on rubbish. I'm not very good at saving up for things. I'm still waiting for when you know that you're going to get $500,000, whenever that might happen, I'm personally finding it hard to bother saving up any of the money, especially when you can get a sports car for free.
Yeah.
But I kind of thought this week I would have been able to play some more of it. I think all you guys, like, you're playing, the friends that we know, my brother's playing, everybody's kind of short ahead of me, which is not an unusual thing when it comes to online games. I have to say that this always happens, but everybody's shot ahead of me in terms of levels, so I'm fucking Johnny lagging at the back as per usual. But it's still really good. The thing that really frustrates me is nothing to do with the online. I would have finished the single player by now, definitely. If I hadn't had that save issue, where I lost what is actually a fucking significant chunk of the game, is hours of single player progress. I would have definitely finished a single player game because I'd have made time to finish it, and I still haven't really gone back to where I was even. And even though the missions are fun to play again, it's just kind of killed it for me because I was so into it, absolutely engrossed. And having something that good break on you, and then having to go through it again and being wary that it might break again is really shit. I will still finish a single player game. I want to get it finished before the PS4 comes out. I don't know, it just feels like this game to me was the end of this chapter of gaming, and I don't kind of want it to overlap, even though we might still play online off the PS4. I'm sure we will, and all this stuff is just meaningless anyway. It's just me thinking things, but that's frustrating as fuck, man. If you are in a situation where you're reasonably early on in the story, and you're listening to this, and there's a point, I've spoken about this before, but I just want to make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody else. There's a point where, as Michael, you get the opportunity to go and meet a film producer called Solomon, or there's another mission with, I believe the guy's name is Devon, and you get an S and a D on your map. Go to the S, go and meet the film producer. The game, I don't think it should have given you the other option. I think it might not for some people, but for me it did. And clearly for many other people, because I've read online. Just go see Solomon, do the mission, and then the game was fine from there. That's what's supposed to happen. I did it the other way around. Then it started bringing in information about Solomon, a guy I'd never met, but Michael was talking about him as if he'd met him. Then it made me do a mission that happens right at the end of the game, 20 missions too early. Then I ran out of missions, and that sucks. So hopefully that won't happen to anybody else who happens to have heard this.
Have they not patched this?
No, they're only patching online.
Oh. Is it still because there's that weird scenario where you're not allowed to patch offline elements of a game?
No, you are, but at the moment they're just patching online. I think they had such a nightmare with online, and I think that's what broke offline. I'm so sure of it. I'm pretty sure, because I was basically at that point on the day that online launched, and I was trying to force through into the online modes that first day because I was writing a feature on it, so I had to get in there, and I think that's what damaged. Some people have completely corrupted their saves. You know, some people are unluckier than me, and they lost everything, all their progress. So yeah, it just sucks, man. It feels like every game is kind of fucked these days.
Yeah, it is annoying that. So you. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you with regards to completing it. It's just I've just come from Batman and Assassin's Creed, and Battlefield is right here. So I'll get it done before, certainly before the PlayStation 4. I'll get it before the Xbox One. That's what I'm getting. Hooray! Yes. All right. Well, yeah, I'll finish that. GTA Online's my number 3 as well. I haven't done a whole lot more. I've done similar stuff. I've completed. I did survival mode up to wave 10.
Oh, you did it.
I spoke to Toby, and he said, check my achievements out, I've done it. And I was like, well, how? He's like, well, I'm only ranked 14, it's fucking easy. And he didn't give me any tips. He was going to, but the second he said that, we just went and did it, and we did it like second attempts. It's just about finding the right part of the map. Okay. I mean, I was convinced that there were some maps where the train line map didn't appear to have any really good hiding spaces on it. But there is. If you walk to the bottom of the road, there's like a really great. You can box yourself in basically, and that's how we did it. I played with our lot, Jay and Zeno, and we found that if you go to the golf cart, there's a golf cart, the golf course. Mm-hmm. There's a golf cart race where you race these little golf buggies around. And we did that 4 or 5 times, laughing hysterically. It's hilarious. There's only one track, obviously, because it's the golf course. But it was like brilliant. After all that violence and hecticness, just the palate cleansing nature of fighting those golf buggies about. But because it's even more pronounced, I mean, the driving in Grand Theft Auto is sort of made so that the tiniest little tap from somebody who's being sniped can spin you out. Even more so with the golf buggies. And there are a couple of really, really hard jumps in it. But anyway, we did that loads of times, laughing our heads off. And then later that night, I played with Dave Turner and Matt Murray from Joypod Stroke. Those two have just brought out a new episode of their podcast, You, Me and Him, or Me, You and Him, is it?
You, Me and Him.
You, Me and Him. incidentally, go and download that. Download the new episode. It's amazing. But yeah, we played this. We were playing as well. When I jumped into their game, they had run up to the top of the map, and we basically went up to the highest point of the map, and then started, and we had a race without a car. You know, we were just standing on the beach, and then we had to run, get a car, and be the first person down to the bottom of the map. And it was a good idea, but it just didn't work because you just spend the whole time on the motorway. So it's boring. But anyway, then I said, you've got to do the golf buggies. You've got to do the golf buggies, and they didn't appreciate it because they don't know what they're talking about. So that was a real shame. So it just depends on what kind of peeps you're playing with, I suppose. Good people or people who don't know what the hell they're talking about.
People who don't like golf.
It's just funny. And then we had a photo finish. I've got it. I might try and put it on YouTube where Zeno flew over a sand dune on the finish line and just seeing us cross the finish line. I mean, we were just laughing. I thought it was funny.
That's the best thing about that game online is the laughter.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's a fucking good game, GTA Online. You know it.
I'm sure everyone else is playing it as well.
True that. Well, that was my number 3 anyway.
All right, my number 3 is talking about buggies. It's Motorstorm RC on Vita, a game that I've meant to play for ages and ages. It's always been cheap, and I've always meant to buy it. So I'd heard it was good, but it's appeared on PS Plus. I knew it would. I think that's why I didn't buy it. And it is a good game. It's a very good game. It's radio-controlled cars, obviously, but done on Motorstorm style tracks. So even though it's basically top-down, figure 8 tracks, or whatever. Classic kind of radio-controlled tracks. They're Motorstorm themed, so you have some which are like just kind of like dusty stuff, like the first Motorstorm, then some which are more the stuff like Arctic stuff, jungly stuff. I think that's like the second one, and there's more some ones which are based on Apocalypse, but not a lot of crazy stuff actually happens in those. But the fundamental gameplay is fun. You drive the little radio-controlled cars with 2 sticks. Left one steers left and right, and then the right one is the accelerator and the brake, which I guess is how radio-controlled cars work. And quite quickly, I found that I got quite good at it quite fast, or certainly the learning curve is that you can get your skill level. It feels like your skill level is quite high early on. So the first few hours you are, well, I certainly was, just smashing gold medals on everything, really keeping tight corners on everything, hitting the right lines around corners, and winning races. There's mode where it's like a hot lap mode where you have to beat a certain time. You just keep doing a lap until you can beat the gold medal time. There's one where you have to like get a certain amount of overtakes in a time. All fine. None of them are hugely original, but all fun. And then it suddenly does ramp up the difficulty quite a lot after a few hours, and you can still get to the point where you're progressing, getting silver medals. But because you've got golds all that way, you really want to kind of perfect everything. And I think the beauty of the game is in nailing those perfect runs, nailing the corners perfectly. It's not just about scraping through and a win in second place. Not win in second place doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It just really is about hitting the right lines on the corners, and just trying to max out your abilities. The wrong way of describing it. Just really like hit, just race as well as you can and get the gold medals. The game is clearly about the gold medals, and yeah, I mean it is a good game. It's a good game from a good studio, and I'm glad that I finally got around to playing it.
And it's a freebs.
Yes, well, yeah, PlayStation Plus is a must these days. It's an absolute must. It's an amazing service. And obviously, if you are going to PS4, then you'll need PS Plus to play online, which is a bit dirty, but it's so good beyond that you'd be mad to even complain, I think.
It's not really a bit dirty, I suppose, because it's yeah, I mean, but that's Xbox Live, isn't it?
It's still the same price as that, and you're not getting fucking Defense Grid or whatever as your free games. You're
also not getting 24/7 reliable, stable, powerful internet sort of gaming.
You might be.
Well, yes, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That is the real interest. Since I've signed up for PS Plus, the only issues I've had with the PlayStation 3 are the fact that stupidly you need to download things twice. No, how's the best way to describe it? Say you've got a 14 gig download for a game, you need double that space because it has to download the game and like a mirror of it, which is the install file, which is absolutely ridiculous. But once you've got PS Plus, it does all the background, automatically downloads all the updates, all that sort of stuff. So all the really irritating stuff about PS3 and Sony's firmware and all that stuff is gone. And all that stuff's supposed to be background in PS4 anyway. So fingers crossed for all of that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I went on to see what was on offer. I downloaded the Dark Souls 2 beta and then it overslept, so I never played it. And I also went to download Uncharted 3's on there at the moment, the single-player component.
Yeah.
And I thought, why not? I'll have a look at that again. And it was near enough 40 gig, I think. And I didn't think anything of it, so I deleted almost everything on my hard drive. I've got one of those original fat bastard 80 gig ones. And yeah, I realised soon after that I couldn't download it in a million years because I physically could not download it because there isn't enough space.
You need twice the space.
Yeah, so that was quite shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do like PS Plus. It's a cool little service. But as far as I can see, unless they change it drastically for the next gen, which they might, it's two different things for two different sets of people. I am paying for not having maintenance for a couple of hours every couple of weeks, and all of that stuff that they offer. That, I mean, if Sony start doing it, it's one more reason to fucking jump ship.
If Sony start doing what?
Well, start sort of upping the quality of their online service because at the moment it's just not there. I tried playing like not Black Ops, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and it was just like, how do people play games like this? It's a far inferior service, but as we move into the next gen, it might. I think the cards are going to be stacked well against Microsoft for any number of reasons. It seems like so.
Indeed,
we'll see.
Indeed. Yeah, what were we talking about? MotorStorm. How do we get onto that rubbish?
I don't know. I'll download it. If you want a multiplayer game, let's do that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, if you got PS Plus and a Vita, then you probably already got it.
True that. Okay, well, my number 2 again is Batman Arkham Origins. I'll wait for you to go over that, and we'll talk about it then. But I'll go straight to my number 1 and just get it out of the way. It's hold on, wait a minute. So how does this work? 3, 2. What have you done? Your number 2.
I've got to do my number 2 before you do your number 1.
Go on, then, do your number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is FIFA. I had to play some FIFA for a piece that I was writing for a magazine. There's like a Provo versus FIFA online comparison thing, and. Yeah, I played a few matches at first, and I was like, "This is just fine." I absolutely loved the fact that, as you said, in the week it came out, I jumped on, I found a game, it worked straight away, and it was lag-free. I mean, it was lag-free. It was the best it's ever been. It was better than FIFA 13, better than FIFA 12. I couldn't believe how lag-free it was. The response time was instant. All that, I was like, that's just nice, man. That's so nice. And the seasons mode's great and all that sort of stuff. But the first few matches I played, it was people scoring from corners. That's all that was happening. I could not defend corners, and that's still a problem. So I switched it off and was like, FIFA's just not doing it for me anymore. And that's when I went on to PES and had all the nightmares. So I was like, it came to another day, and I was like, you know what, I just want to play a football game online, so I'm just going to stick FIFA on because I know it works. I know I can get with it. I can switch on the console, and I can be in a game of FIFA online that works lag-free within 2 minutes. And so I did, and then I ended up completely sucked in and just played game after game after game after game. It's one of those rare times I actually had a bit of time to play something for myself. And yeah, game after game after game, I started experimenting with Ultimate Team. I hadn't played Ultimate Team properly since it used to be a DLC thing that came out later in the year, and it's way more streamlined now than it was then, way more accessible. That was really cool. And then just playing Seasons mode, and now I don't think it's as good a football game as Pro Evo when Pro Evo works. I think there's more variety still in Pro Evo, definitely. I stand by everything I've said about that. But the more I play FIFA 14, I actually think that it is definitely the best version, and I am very excited about playing it next gen. Genuinely am now, as long as the online works as well as it does here, because that Seasons mode is great. And I had some cracking games online where I was able to impose my way of playing, which you don't like, but fuck it seems to work. Passing the ball about, I was getting the hang of the dribbling far better. There was way more variety in shots. I actually scored some goals that I can remember, which is rare for a FIFA game. The way, aesthetically pleasing goals. And I was like, this is actually really good. Obviously, I knew it was good, but I think the fucking pain of PES helped up how much I enjoyed this session of FIFA. But I've gone back to it since and still had some fun games. In fact, I played it today. It's Thursday as we're recording, and the little preamble before the match started was the guy was like, "Oh, it's Halloween" and all this stuff. I was like, "No way, that's fucking weird." Like, I don't even know if that was in previous versions. I can't even remember. But when you're dealing with that level of polish, and then you put on the other game and it tells you it's not working, and it takes 10 minutes to get into a game, and then you press change player, and this is how long it takes. This is how long it takes on Prevo for change player. Right, click, change. That's how long it takes to change your player on Prevo. Imagine trying to play a football game like that.
Yeah, I'd rather not. FIFA is good. It is very good. I mean, I'm done for this gen, but
yeah, it's only a matter of weeks now, and you won't have to play me because you'll get an Xbox One and I get a PS4, so you won't have to rage quit anymore.
Don't remind me.
Don't rage quit the podcast.
Yeah, I won't. Do you remember not Need for Speed? The boxing game on the Dreamcast, Ready to Rumble?
Yes.
Did you ever play it on St Patrick's Day?
No, unless I played it with you, but no, I don't think so.
I was like, oh yeah, set the internal clock to St Patrick's Day. It's the ref's a leprechaun and everything's just like there's 4-leaf clovers everywhere and stuff. Yeah, it's a nice little thing.
Yeah.
Much like that bit of commentary.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like groundbreaking technologically. I just thought it was just a nice piece of polish, and it just kind of caught me by surprise.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, well, look, my number 2 is, as I've said more than once, I think, Batman Arkham Origins. Yeah. We'll talk about it in a minute. In the meantime, this is me talking about Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. We put a video on YouTube. We spoke about this earlier in the week, so it's already on YouTube. If you watch that, it's about 12 minutes long, so skip if you've heard it. And because I'm such a dick, once again, what I've done is deleted the original audio, so I'm going to have to rip the audio from the YouTube video and put it on here, so it's going to have a load of sound effects in the background. Hopefully it doesn't sound too shit. This is it, Assassin's Creed 4, it's Gleam. Okay, well, my number 1 is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on the PlayStation 3, also available on numerous other formats. I take it you haven't played this yet?
I haven't touched it, no. Interested to hear what you have to say.
All right, okay. It's difficult to know where to start. Basically, first of all, Ubisoft's done 2 things. First of all, they've moved the release date forward a few days in Europe, which almost certainly has something to do with Battlefield 4 launching on the same day initially, but they've also been touring it around the UK so that the public can play it. So on paper, both of those things seem to suggest that they've got a tremendous amount of faith in it, and it's not misplaced. I think, as far as I'm concerned, this is the game that they should have made in the first place. Because the Desmond Miles stuff isn't in it, and for me, I mean, that's always, as far as I'm concerned, that's a joke. Now it's kind of received wisdom that was always the weakest part of these games.
Yeah.
And now that it's gone, I still remember hearing about Assassin's Creed, the first one, and reading about it, and just being genuinely excited. And then from the second I realised they'd inserted that futuristic framing device, I just thought it was a terrible cop out. So the fact that that's gone, I mean, there is some modern day stuff in it, this first person walking around Abstergo Entertainment HQ, but it can be almost entirely avoided. I mean, you've got like 3/4 of an hour there unless you explore, and exploring is drifting down corridors and switch puzzles. They're not even switch puzzles, they're just pressing switches. And there's collectibles and stuff, so that is rubbish.
Okay.
So you get to focus on the core of what's always been interesting, which is the central conceit of these period adventures.
So what is the main story again for people that might not know
of Assassin's Creed?
No, of 4.
Okay, well, I want to avoid spoilers, and it's quite complicated. But basically, you play as Haytham Kenway's father, Edward. So Haytham Kenway was the guy you started off playing in Assassin's Creed 3. And I think perhaps as a response to fans who thought it was quite jarring that you sort of went from Haytham Kenway at the beginning, who was this really interesting, morally ambiguous, almost a villain, to go to Connor, who was a traditional hero and not particularly interesting. Edward Kenway in Assassin's Creed 4 is much more like the child he gives birth to, because he's motivated almost exclusively by greed and sort of trying to enhance his reputation. He's actually, a complicated, not entirely nice person, and right. He looks and occasionally sounds like Chris Hemsworth, which I suppose is interesting. The pacing of everything is just better. It's unafraid to go long on things. So it's almost certainly a result of not having to be assembled around this kind of ad break style cliffhanger every couple of hours, because that always wound me up. It would build up a certain degree of momentum, and then it would cut back to bloody Desmond Miles, who was just, I never found that stuff particularly interesting. Fans of the series, I think, by and large, seem to regard the Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3 as the weakest of the series, whereas I think they were the best and most interesting games. Nevertheless, I think, regardless of how you feel about, which is your favourite and where you think they went wrong, Ubisoft have been listening very closely to fans, and you can tell. almost throughout it. I mean, the world is much bigger than the world in even Assassin's Creed 3, but the traversable land is heavily compacted. So rather than, if you're running from one end of Boston to another in Assassin's Creed 3, that could be, I'd say probably about 7 or 8 minutes. I mean, it was. Whereas here, all of the stuff, all of the missions and everything is compressed so much more. So you don't have to sort of spend an age running around. Assassination missions weren't in Assassin's Creed 3 for some reason, which was completely bizarre, but they're back now. The eavesdrop missions where you walk around after people and sort of listen to their conversations. In this, they're kind of route puzzles, so you're always, a lot of them in Assassin's Creed 3, you just have to walk in a straight line, essentially. Right. This is a lot more, you're avoiding things and trying to get, but you're plotting a route through the world. So those are a lot more interesting. Homesteading, they got rid of that, obviously, because that has no point in this story. And if there's something you don't like, after every mission, you're given the opportunity to give each thing a star mission, so a star rating. So if you thought a mission was amazing, you give it a rating out of 5 stars, you give it 5, or you can give it 1, and they feed back straight back to Ubisoft. So
they really,
so it's quite cool because they're going to see what works and what doesn't. But basically, the whole reason for this, the whole reason for being, the reason this is so good, is that they took the best thing about Assassin's Creed 3, which was the naval combat, and they've made it that's what the game's about. It's about the naval combat. And it's still, the word I've used is definitive, because I don't know how this is going to be topped. It just feels so good. I mean, it's everything about it. They've nailed it first time, and it's still, you can sustain the entire game. I mean, there's fast travel, so you don't even have to do that much naval combat if you don't want to, but it's the best thing about the game, so I don't know why you'd skip that. Did you do? I mean, you played 3. Did you do much of the naval combat in that?
I didn't get to the naval combat, despite playing 3 for about 400 hours. I didn't even get that far.
Okay, well, I mean, it's an absolute joy. There's some extra elements in 4 as well. There's things like rogue waves and tornadoes to contend with while you're at sea.
Oh, really?
And you can also use your telescope, because you have to, basically, when you're out at sea, you have to try and find cargo that you can either sell or use to sort of build up your ship, and you have to try and find crew members as well. So you can be on your ship, see another one sailing past you, and use your telescope, and you can see exactly what's on board, and then you can have a fight with it. And just fighting one-on-one with these ships is just absolutely thrilling. I mean, you cannot beat it. And it's simple and it's accessible, but it's not. The combat's all about judging time and distance. So you honestly can't beat it. I mean, if you size up a vessel, you can see it's got cargo that you need, and then you use all of your weapons in tandem with each other, because some of them have, from different parts of your ship. You can only use them from here, A, B, blah, blah, to sort of smash up this ship, and then you hook onto it, and you use these side-mounted swivel cannons to just hammer away at the crew, and then you swing on board with your crew, your shipmates. I mean, you can't beat it. You cannot beat it. And then when you're on board a ship, you can either take the ship and have it in your own fleet, or you can nick the crew, or you can just steal a few parts to help repair your own ship. It's impossible to understate how entertaining it is. I mean, I never thought of myself as somebody who had a thing for pirates, I suppose, but it's impossibly exciting, and it didn't for the 30 odd hours that I played this game, it still hadn't got boring, and I used to just go off, ignore the missions, and just sail around. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto in the fact that you can make your own entertainment. Some of that entertainment is there's now sea forts in the middle of the ocean, and those are some of the best parts of the game. They're like side missions. They're kind of like heavily armoured castles in the middle of the water.
Okay.
And they've got battlements and weapons and stuff. So you basically hammer them as if you're hammering a ship, although they're much harder. And then when their sort of defences are down, you all leap onto the, you get on foot, and then all your crew go and just have a load of sword fights. It's brilliant. It's the best parts of the game in microcosm, and they're just out there at sea for you to go and find if you want. It's hard to, I don't want to spoil the plot or anything. There's obviously, like all Assassin's Creed games, there's real life characters in there. I had never heard of them, so I assume most people won't have, apart from one, Blackbeard, who's is given the most amount of sort of time in the game. Also, the ecosystem is straight out of Far Cry 3. They've just straight up lifted it. So there's different species highlighted in different areas of the map. You can't hunt everything initially. At first, sharks and whales, you have to get beyond a certain point before you're allowed to hunt them. which is a massive improvement because the pelts, if you went and did hunting in Assassin's Creed 3, the pelts, you could only really sell them, whereas here there's a crafting system. Again, they've basically taken some elements from Far Cry 3, which is, as far as I'm concerned, is not a bad thing. So it's Assassin's Creed as you know it, but better, more polished, the naval combat truly makes it. But as good as it is, and it's brilliant, it gets even better after a little while, because it starts, basically there are treasure maps that you find, and you go somewhere, there's coordinates, and then there's a little badly drawn picture that you have to kind of study to try and find this treasure. Some of it's buried underground, but some of it, after a while, you unlock a diving bell on your ship, so you basically have to dive deep into the ocean and sort of find submerged shipwrecks and look for treasure. I mean, it's just it's the pirate game. If you've ever thought what a great pirate game would be, this is basically it. If you're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 at the moment and you think that nothing could pull you away, I'd say this can do it. It's that good. It's not as eccentric and I think interesting as Assassin's Creed 3, but just for pure entertainment value, it's exciting. And I do think they're getting better as they've gone on. The writing's got better. So I think the story's more engaging, and I just love the fact that it doesn't stop for these, incredibly dull Desmond Miles bits and pieces.
That's good news. Certainly.
Yeah. I mean, apparently there are some fans who want that. I mean, if you look around in the first-person thing, you'll find out a bit more, because Assassin's Creed 3 just kind of ended, just stopped. If you want to know more about what happened to Desmond, you can explore if you like. But by and large, it's all about the central adventure, and God damn it, it's thrilling and it's meaty, and the side missions are better than they usually are. I mean, everything about it's just better. I mean, you can see why they've got such confidence in it. So even if you don't really like Assassin's Creed, I mean, if you're going to play one, this is the one to get. I think this is the one where they've really nailed it.
Okay. You made it sound more... I'm more interested in it now than I have been previously. I always liked a lot of the ideas in there, and having not played the naval combat, but I've heard it's great and seen it looks great in 3, so a game based around everything about it sounds really interesting, but I've been burnt so many times by this series. It just doesn't... It does a lot of things which just kind of turn me off, and one of the main things is the kind of how linear the standard assassination missions are. I always felt like I was just walking along a very thin road, having a fight, getting to the end, stabbing a guy, having a conversation with him while I knelt down. Is that still are they still the kind of central pieces of the game, or
not really? No, I'd say they're not. I mean, if you're not talking about the side quests, where the actual just assassination missions, you mean the
story, like you got to kill, this guy from history, whatever.
I mean, that's still a central part of the game, but there's so much more to it. I mean, like I said, even if you stick to the story, there's a hell of a lot of naval combat in there. I mean, you can skip the lion's share of it, I'd say, because there's fast travel everywhere. It's a lot more like Grand Theft Auto, the way that the map's been designed and the way that you can waypoint stuff. Because there was this weird thing in Assassin's Creed 3 where you go to an area and then you'd have to walk backwards through it in order to go to where you were supposed to be going. It was really confusing. This is it's just a lot more streamlined in general. It's difficult. I mean, if you really aren't a fan, I'd say that this is the best chance of engaging with you, just because it's basically a pirate adventure rather than a sort of... I don't know. It feels freer. It's like I said, the pacing's better. It just feels like a more sort of complete thing.
Getting rid of that Desmond Miles stuff is a very good start for me.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Fuck all that.
Yeah. I'm the same as that. I mean, I actually thought it got vaguely interesting when it went all Inception-y and Revelations, but I was the only person, apparently. I just think it's tremendously exciting. I mean, it really is. It really is. The naval combat is some of the best things you'll do in a game all year, as far as I'm concerned. And even elements that, one of the worst things about Assassin's Creed 3 was those terrible missions. They were optional, thank God, where you were chasing like Benjamin Franklin's diary pages around. You can do that with it. Obviously, Benjamin Franklin's not in it, but you can do those similar missions, but they're sea shanties for your crew. So once you've got them, your crew, when you're sailing along, will sing different songs.
That's good.
The sound design, incidentally, is absolutely out of this fucking world. Out of this world. When when there's a storm coming in and your crew are singing, and this hefty boat is rocking in the... I mean,
you're making it sound good now. This is the most excited I've been about this game by a long way. A long, long way.
Well, I honestly think it's really, really terrific. And I honestly don't say that lightly. I should stop comparing it to Grand Theft Auto, but I thought, you know, a lot of games I've played recently, I always want to go back there straight away. That didn't happen with this. Just sailing around the ocean, getting into adventures. It's wicked. Honestly, it's. I think it's absolute. I think they've nailed it. I don't know where they go from here, though. That's the problem. In a way, it would have been better if they just did a spin-off of pirate games, because I want more of this sort of stuff. But anyway, look, Assassin's Creed 4, it's terrific. I loved it. So yeah, that was that. Go and get Assassin's Creed. Trust me.
I'm actually kind of like, as I say in the piece there, I'm more excited about an Assassin's Creed game than I have been ever. I think. Yeah, I actually do want to play. I want to play the PS4 version and see what I think. It's a matter of time because those games are so vast. I just kind of wish I could play an Assassin's Creed game where they just drop me on that ship and I can just start the fun part of the game straight away without all the bollocks. I know there's going to be a load of bollocks at the beginning.
There pretty much isn't. All of the stuff, that's why it's so fucking good. The first person stuff is like, the first section's 5 minutes at most.
Right.
And then it's just bang. I'm pretty sure it starts in the water. Actually, I mean, I think the way the game opens is like, we're not fucking around anymore.
Good. Because that's what's killed me about all of them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's the only things I haven't liked. But this does not fuck around. Honestly, you'll be... Oh, it's wicked. Absolutely wicked. And yeah, if you are going to wait for next gen, I didn't say this in that video, but there are times when, because the time cycles are so impressive. Like if you're out on your boat for an entire in-game day, the dusky times in the dark looks like the machines are really. I played it on PS3. It looked like it was really struggling to convey, because it's an incredible looking game throughout, but something about it just felt like it wasn't coping very well.
Yeah.
Whereas almost certainly on the next gen, that's going to look great. But even if you're not getting a next gen machine, it's absolutely. Really terrific.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested.
Nice. All right, good. Get it.
Okay.
Check it.
So, number one then for me is Batman Arkham Origins. Actually playing on PC. We talked earlier about how cheap Lego Marvel was, and I managed to pick it up on day of release for £18 on PC, which is insane. But moving on from that, it's Batman Arkham Origins. So, obviously, this is the third game in the Arkham series after Arkham Asylum and Arkham City from Rocksteady. Arkham Asylum came along with a lot of hype and a lot of publicity, but I think because so many people have been burned by Batman for so many years in video games anyway, that nobody, certainly in people that I was speaking to, was hugely excited by it. And then the game came out and hit and was, for all intents and purposes, a masterpiece. I have some issues with what happens towards the end of the game with all the Titan stuff. But yeah, it's basically an incredible piece of work. City came out, and that was my game of the year for 2011, was it? An amazing, amazing game. So when they announced Origins was going to be made by a different studio, and it was coming basically right at the end of this generation, when I heard it wasn't Rocksteady, I was like, okay, but I'm still interested. I'm still intrigued. I believe that this studio, Warner Bros. Montreal, I'm sure they can put together a game based on the work of Rocksteady. And in truth, in my opinion, they have. I've heard Arkham Origins described as like a cover version of a song you really like, a good cover version of a song you really like. And I think that's a kind of a nice, succinct way of putting it. It does everything that Arkham City does a little bit worse. But that's not to say it's a lot worse. It's not, for me, a 3.5 out of 10 like the Destructoid review. It's definitely not that. To give it a bit of brief backstory, obviously, your Batman, this is Batman Year 2, they call it. And he is, it's Christmas Eve, and there's a contract put out on him where the villain Black Mask has, I think, offered to pay $50 million to 8 assassins to try and kill Batman on Christmas Eve. I don't think it's a spoiler to say, a bit later on it turns out that the Joker's involved, and the game goes on to be another Batman and Joker story, which is just more appealing to me than this other kind of rogues gallery of people I didn't really know who most of them were. And it's a decent-sized piece of open world to move around in. A lot of it is recycled from Arkham City geometrically, and then it adds a chunk more on. And then you've got the familiar kind of indoor sections, which were made up almost all of Asylum and kind of the levels, as it were, in City. And yeah, I mean, the city's not as good as Arkham City. The indoor bits aren't as good as Arkham City. The combat isn't quite as good as Arkham City. It's a little bit off. But at no point am I going, fucking hell, they fucked this up. At no point am I ever not enjoying myself. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the combat. I know that there are issues where sometimes the counter button doesn't work, but it's not like the counter button never works and I can't play it. It's frustrating because I know what combos I can get on City and Asylum, and they're not quite working here. I'm going into the interior levels, and in City and more so Asylum, they are complex structures that require a certain amount of backtracking at times, puzzle solving. Here they're more like linear A to B stuff, but again, it's not killing me. None of this is killing me. I don't object to this game existing. I've enjoying my time with it. I genuinely am. I don't know. What do you think? I've still got more to say, but I'm interested in what you think.
I think very similar to you, although a little bit less of it, just because I've had quite a few instances where I've just been mad with frustration.
Okay.
I mean, I think by and large what you said is correct. The problem is that Arkham City was so vast and so polished. I mean, it was in comparison with you'd compare it to something by Rockstar.
Yeah.
It was that every part of that city, every part of that game, even the tiny little side missions were amazing and polished and everything. So it's going to suffer in comparison. And the other thing about it is that it was so far away from being a cyclical release. So the fact that they felt the need to 2 years later bring out another sequel, you can tell. But by and large, I wasn't minding it. I was really quite enjoying it because it's just, they did hit upon a brilliant formula. So playing it for the first few hours, I thought it was fine. But my problems with the combat became quite fundamental. I mean, like you said, the counter command it just doesn't work. How frustrating is that when it makes you realise how incredible the Rocksteady games were, because the amount of times that's happened to me now where you can die and have to restart just because the fucking button just doesn't work, that's mental. And that's happened to me. That happened to me during a couple of boss battles, and it happened to me on some bit. Just I don't know what excuse. I don't. The fundamental part of the game doesn't work properly.
Yeah,
it's as if everything looks the same. That little animation, the little sort of lightning bolts, that's all still there. But it seems like the window for countering is slimmer, and also you can preemptively press counter, so you can just hammer counter if you've got someone and it'll work, which never worked in the other games. It's dumbed down and it doesn't entirely work. That's just frustrated the absolute hell out of me.
Yeah, I get the impression on that one. You put it perfectly, and this is something I've written in my notes. Almost everything about the game just shows how good the Rocksteady games actually are, because they hit upon it first time with that free flow combat and everything else in terms of Arkham Asylum. You can kind of take it for granted a little bit, but when you try and play the combat here, and I haven't been in situations where it's caused me to die, so that's why I said it's not bothering me that much. It's just a little bit annoying for me because it's fucking up my combo, but it's not. I'm still beating everybody up, and I've still got all my life basically. But yeah, I think they might have been in a situation where they got all this code. Listen, I don't know how these things actually work, but in my mind, this is how I'm going to describe it. They got all the code just shoved on their desk. Here's how the Batman game works. Good luck, try and do this. And they opened up the thing, and they opened up they pulled it out and put it on their computer, and they're like, oh fuck, how the fuck are we going to do this? These guys are geniuses. I don't even understand. And they have tried their absolute damnedest in a short amount of time to recreate it as best they can, but it does creak. It definitely creaks, and that goes to everything. The Predator stuff isn't quite as good. The AI isn't quite as good. The options aren't as much. The flying around the city doesn't feel as good. I'm having a lot of trouble with my frame rate on PC. The game looks gorgeous, but I don't need a game that runs flawlessly at 60 frames a second indoors. Then when you go outside, drops to 20 frames a second. I don't need that in my life, and I'm hearing that that's a similar issue on the console version, certainly on PS3 version. That kind of stuff sucks, and it's not that this game existing diminishes the other two games, but the fact that it is inferior is a shame because those games were so special, and it felt like at the end of City that when this game didn't exist in the minds of anybody, you just assumed it was going to be Rocksteady again doing the next one, that this could be like one of the truly great trilogies, and the Rocksteady trilogy will still be that, I'm sure. But now the Arkham trilogy isn't that. But having said that, I've said all along, I am enjoying my time with Batman Arkham Origins. Just, I don't know. It's difficult to know what I'd end up in if I had to put a score to it.
Yeah. I don't know either. I mean, it has, like I said, wound me up quite a bit, but it is still really entertaining. Like I said, the formula is just it is entertaining, even when it's really irritating. It doesn't look as good in the sense that, although it was essentially the same world in Arkham City, it was actually quite colourful. So many of these environments are really murky. I mean, there are spikes, like that great bit where I think Joker takes over like a ballroom or something and turns it into like a theme park. That looks amazing. But there's so much of it. I'm just like, why does this look so dull? I mean, even when it was underground, and it was, even the sewers in the Rocksteady games looked kind of sort of sparky, and they looked a little bit. The amount of times I've found myself walking through really, really dull and mundane. But then again, another problem is that they still haven't solved the problem of having detective mode on all the time.
I forcibly turn it off, but pretty much all the time. But I know a lot of people don't.
Especially if you're looking for. I mean, another thing, there were collectibles in Arkham City. There were balloons to pop and stuff like that. But by and large, like the Riddler trophies and stuff, that was just like a polite, there's more game over here if you want it. Yeah. Which is so much more. I mean, collectibles are. They upset me quite a bit because it's just a really cheap way to prolong the life of a game and exploit people who might be completists. So to come into this and find out that it's like document number 1 of 10 and then document number 1, just fucking things to find, to walk over, that really was really disappointing. I mean, you said it looks really good on PC. On 360 the cutscenes are really scrappy. The dialogue rarely syncs and the faces have no textures on them, so they look kind of, the cutscenes on 360 do not look good in the slightest. I mean, I think the main problem with it is that it's come out in the same breathing space as Assassin's Creed 4, which is not anywhere near. I mean, that's a knockout of a game, and this is just not that. It is a sort of, I'd say, a 6 out of 10 game by and large, but it's still good. I'd still recommend it. I'd still say if you're a fan, it's not going to, it's not going to completely insult you, and like you said, it doesn't insult the memory of the other games. But at this time of year, with the competition, I don't even think about it.
The worst thing that I did with Arkham Origins, I was genuinely really enjoying it, and I thought as much as certain areas I didn't feel like it was as good as my memory of Arkham City. I was really enjoying it, and I thought I'd stick on Arkham City because the thing I was going around the actual city in Origins, and I was thinking, this is fucking bland, man. I'm sure it wasn't like this in Arkham City, and I stuck it on, and within minutes I was like, oh shit. I don't think I'm ever going to see Origins in the same way again now, because even though the resolution's tons lower on the 360 version I've got of Arkham City, the frame rate's lower, like to look at, to a layman, it's a worse looking game because it's not as, the resolution's not as nice, the lighting's not as nice, whatever. But just like the artistry in every single inch of that game is incredible. The way that they've structured the city in terms of the layout, and you can just look at it, and there's so many different things. Oh, what's that? That looks amazing. That looks interesting. What's that? You go down to the ground, and like every inch is just. You go down to the ground in this, and it's just like it's just a road. There's nothing here. There's nothing to look at. I don't need to look around the corner. No, it's not awful in Origins. It's just not that. And one of the best things about Asylum and City, the Rocksteady games, is that they treat the environment as much a part of the story as the actual story itself. The fact that in Asylum everything was twisted into like the Joker's personality almost, and then in City, the major players had their own area of the city, and the city was sort of almost as if nature was taking it over, and it was kind of being twisted into the psyche of that particular villain. This doesn't have any of that. There are parts where, this is a bit jokery, and I must say the Christmas stuff's crap. It's like just a couple of lights here and a tree there. That feels like an afterthought. I thought that was going to be really cool, but again, I think 6 out of 10, if I was going to put a score on it, would be what I'd be leaning to as well, maybe 7. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. it's one of those ones I'm glad I'm talking about it and not putting a number on it, because hopefully I've been able to convey my thoughts reasonably well.
Yeah.
In that respect, did you try multiplayer at all?
I did. I played it for over an hour.
Did you?
It's quite an interesting idea. On the problem on 360, trying to get a game is almost impossible. I mean, if you sit in a lobby for 20 minutes,
really?
25 minutes at a time. I mean, you just sit there on your own, and then one person will join, and then two people will join, and then one of them will leave. I mean, it's like only 10 people have the game. I know that's not true. And when a mate of mine suggested that perhaps people just weren't playing it because they were busy playing the campaign, but I was like, but no, this is not a wide, a worldwide release. A lobby going on. So something's wrong with the matchmaking in 360. But when I got into a game, I played as the heroes and as the Joker henchmen. I was like, there's only one gameplay mode, Invisible Predator, which makes me think that all of the downloadable content, if you bought a season pass, is going to be multiplayer related. It's quite a neat idea. There was no need for it, but I enjoyed the games that I played. Have you tried it?
I tried one game. On the PC, for some reason, you load it as a separate client. You choose like single player or multiplayer as you're loading it at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think it's probably easier to find a game because it has like a kind of server browser thing, standard PC stuff. So I could see that people in one game. And I jumped in and it was quite fun. I didn't really know what was going on. I was, I think, on the Joker's team, shot a couple of guys, got killed by Batman a couple of times, and then at one point went and knocked on a door, and then I was Bane, and I've no fucking idea why, but then I just killed everybody and we won. So I was like, oh, that was good. I'll never play it again because I don't think I'll ever enjoy it as much as I did just then. So, it's pointless, but it wasn't awful, certainly.
Yeah, they've made a little bit. I mean, I'm sure they were under pressure to create a multiplayer. There was no need for this.
No, I'd be interested if the next Rocksteady one has a multiplayer. If that's
are they doing another Batman game?
They're doing almost certainly. Yeah, they do. Well, they're doing another game. There's rumours that it's going to be the Justice League, and Kevin Conroy, the Batman voice actor who voiced him in Arkham Origins. Sorry. That's confusing. In Arkham Asylum and Arkham City in the Rocksteady games, and didn't voice him in Origins, has let slip at like Comic-Con last year or something that he was working on the next Arkham game, which wasn't Arkham Origins. So there's something going on there, definitely.
Is he? It sounds like the same actor.
It's not.
Okay. Fuck, that's completely bizarre.
Talking of which, I thought Troy Baker is probably going to win some award this year for acting for the ridiculous performances throughout games this year. Does a good Mark Hamill impression. It's a shame that it's not a bit more original, but fuck it, I do love the Joker, man. One of the best characters ever in anything. Just brilliant. I love the Joker.
There are some good bits. I mean, there are some when there is that sort of midsection sort of flashback. I don't know what you call it. The sort of Joker-centric section, I guess. That's really cool. The cutscene, especially, really cool.
Yeah.
So there are good things in it. It's just, I mean, another thing, I was alarmed by how frequently you've got no choice but to tackle fights head on.
Yeah.
The amount of times you open a door or you walk into an area, I'm like, what? I'm just supposed to walk in and start beating people up.
This doesn't feel like Batman. There's just a bit where like this guy's facing away at a door or a grate or something like that, and you're like, pretty sure Batman might look for a different option than just walking in this room that might have a bunch of guys with guns in. But no. And that's what it felt like. This is the fighty bit. This is the Invisible Predator bit. This is the Batclaw bit. But again, I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll do this in the meantime while I wait for Rocksteady's game.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's a 6 out of 10 game. It's entertaining. I'd recommend it at any other time of year. At the moment, there's just too much else that's great. One tiny detail: you use your little thingy. What do you call it? Way too much.
The password machine.
Yeah, non-stop.
Yeah.
I was
tedious.
Yeah, I was like, really? He's got other tools, There are other ways you could make us do this, but instead walking up to every door, twisting the thumbsticks. So there's loads of problems with it, but the formula's so good, and it's not awful. It's just it should have been so much better, and it does suffer in comparison to the other two.
Yeah, one thing I kept thinking as I was playing, because I love the premise of this story. How good would this have been if Rocksteady had made it? That's what I kept thinking. Because like Christmas Eve, all these people, I can imagine like one of the bosses would be emergent in the world or something. They'd nail it. They would make it amazing, and that feels like a bit of a missed opportunity to me. But What can you do? It's all right. It's all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll stand by that.
Cool.
Okay, well, yeah, that's us done. Thank you very much for listening. We've gone over 40 minutes, unfortunately, so sorry about that. But yeah, thanks very much for listening. Recommend us some games on Twitter. Leave a Facebook, not a Facebook, don't leave a Facebook, anything. You can if you want. Yeah, you can if you like, but, why would you do that? But yeah, Twitter, Chet and John's, Chet Roberts, John Deds, and all that usual shite. But yeah, recommend us games to play on Twitter. We might not play them yet because it's mad, it's a madhouse and Batman's out. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, do all that stuff, and thanks very much for listening. Hopefully, you'll be listening again next week.
Yeah, and check us out the YouTube as well.
YouTube, we're on YouTube. Check
John on YouTube. Subscribe to that shit.
Check it out. See you later.
Bye.
Don't you move, Batman. Just stay there and this will all end okay.
What do you mean, end okay? She left us alone with Batman.
Keep it together, he's ours. What's he gonna do?
Good point. I mean, it's not like he has a reputation for breaking free of traps and smashing people's faces. Oh no, that's right. That's exactly what he does.
I said stay calm. I got a gun pointing at his damn head. What's he gonna do?
Oh, I don't know. Throw a smoke bomb, break your face, and string me up from the ceiling?
How's he gonna do that? He can't do that, can he?
I thought you said we were in control.
I did. I mean, we are. Look, there's 4 of us, just 1 of him.
I saw him take out 10 people back at the asylum.
Would you just shut the hell up? Okay, new plan. We kill him now.
What?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. 1, 2...
Are you sure? Won't Harley be pissed?
Why should she care? 1, 2...
Do we shoot on 3?
Yes, on 3! Like 1, 2, 3, shoot!
Okay, let's just get it done. This is freaking me out.
Good. Now, 1, 2, 3, kill him! Where's he gone?
He's vanished. He disappeared.
They don't know where I am.